Mark your calendars. January 15th is the next massive day in the Ripple versus SEC saga. Rumor has it if the SEC doesn't document a key report with the aid of, then this case may want to ultimately be over. In brand new video, I'll run down precisely what this submitting way and percentage might tackle what might happen subsequent. Spoiler, it's large, and it ties into something even larger, and statement through President Trump that I agree with, may be a sport changer for XRP. But earlier than diving into Ripple allows communicate approximately something unfolding proper now in another essential case. Coinbase versus the SEC. Spoiler alert, it's no longer looking right for the SEC. Let's get into it. Folks, this case became already searching difficult for the SEC, however allow me show you simply how disastrously it's unraveling. It's truly both surprising and a touch embarrassing. To kick things off, here's an excerpt that completely sums up the mess. The SEC's scattershot enforcement approach, which goals entities actively trying to comply, completely fails to offer the due manner notice required by means of law. It's a wild situation, and its simplest receives worse from here. Let's dive in. The crypto world is navigating uncharted waters, and the lack of clear course from regulators most effective adds to the chaos. The SEC has supplied little perspective into the way it perspectives crypto belongings, specifically on the subject of securities. Sure, the Dow report touches on the most apparent tokens, those who almost scream stock, but what approximately stablecoins, utility tokens, or even giants like Bitcoin and Ethereum? Current regulations simply do not align with blockchain generation, but the SEC appears unwilling to conform. Instead, its silence and mixed messages create a fog of uncertainty, leaving crypto issuers and exchanges to cross their fingers and desire they don't become within the crossfire. This is a turning factor. For the first time, federal courts are standing with the crypto industry, confirming what we've been pronouncing all along. The SEC has been regulating in awful faith. The agency has intentionally stored the regulations under ease in order to create the right conditions for acceptance. Just as the FCC intentionally, making it impossible for the industry to comply. Why? So they could swoop in and claim that is illegal, based totally on their very own indistinct interpretations. It's like playing a football recreation where the ref maintains throwing flags without explaining the guidelines. Imagine being driven back 10 yards over and over just due to the fact they feel adore it. No playbook, no truthful recreation. That's what the SEC is doing to crypto. But now the courts are calling them out, and the enterprise ultimately has the vindication it deserves. The gadget is broken, and it is no accident. The SEC has deliberately maintained this unsuitable structure, giving themselves the power to modify as they see healthy. But for the primary time, the courts aren't just noticing. They're flat-out calling the SEC out at the very troubles the SRP network has been shouting approximately for years. For over 4 years, we've got visible through this charade, and now the arena is eventually catching on. We've in no way been in a more potent function. Here's a bit gem from the case that completely captures how things are crumbling for the SEC. It's nearly comical. We well remand to the SEC to explain itself. It ought to no longer supply any other terrible rationalization in an already lengthy line of them. Ouch. As innovation drives forward, the SEC's previous methods are being exposed for what the tide is turning. Stay tuned. This is just getting started. The SEC's sporadic enforcement of unclear policies in opposition to crypto agencies looking to follow the regulation isn't always just about preventing fraud. It's targeting a whole enterprise and flirting with an outright ban. On remand, the SEC have to face this reality. Once again, the courts are calling out the SEC for doing exactly what we've been announcing all alongside, storming into the marketplace, maintaining everything unlawful and providing zero clarity. Just cope with it, they say. But the courts aren't having it. They've called this technique insane, a blatant contradiction of the SEC's personal assignment. Meanwhile, fraudsters roam loose, while valid companies like Ripple and Coinbase face the crackdown. The verdict is obvious. Ripple has been vindicated. XRP has been vindicated. And the SEC? It's time they rethink their playbook. Moving ahead, it appears likely that different primary crypto players will observe suit. This paves the manner for more institutional adoption, signaling to big players that this generation isn't only a passing fashion, it is resilient. conflict examined and ripe here to live. Yes, the street has been rocky, and we should not have needed to bear some of the turmoil, but all of that is shaping up to be pretty bullish for the crypto area. Now, transferring gears to the Ripple versus SEC saga. Another huge filing is about for January 15th. As you understand, the SEC appealed Decide Taurus's choice, a decision that essentially known as a lot, in their case nonsense. The court docket stood company assisting Ripple and affirming SRP is not a protection. This case continues to be one to observe, with Ripple gaining momentum and the SEC going through mounting resistance. Buckle up, the SEC says they're appealing, and at the same time, as they have hinted at their recognition, we have not visibled their short yet. It's due January 15th. Some speculate the SEC would possibly bypass filing altogether and permit the case fade away. I would not wager on it. From wherein I stand, Gary Gensler hasn't exactly been the champion of rational decisions or enterprise development. Expecting him to unexpectedly do the right element? Let's just say I'm now not holding my breath. It's certainly not likely that an awful lot will trade at the same time as Gary Gensler stays on the helm of the SEC. But here's the silver lining. His tenure ends on January 20th. Once a brand new SEC chair steps in, the game should absolutely trade. In truth, there's a robust hazard this situation receives dropped, brushed off, or settled quickly after. Though anything happens on January 15th, it may not even matter. The SEC can document its quick and make its arguments, but come January 20th, all bets are off. All that work may want to come to be in the trash. Here's what I suppose. Someone like Paul Atkins or any other high-later SEC reliable may want to step in and push for a dismissal or settlement. Personally, I'm rooting for agreement. It could be a big win for Ripple and XRP. Let's see the way it performs out. This case has been a piece of a multitude, hasn't it? But noticeably, it has furnished some a whole lot wished clarity. Namely, honestly, in spite of everything, this to and fro, it might sense like a waste of the SEC just dropped it now. A agreement, although that could be a game changer. It might give Ripple a clear know-how of what they could and can't do, subsidized through an SEC stance. Talk about actual clarity. To me, a agreement would be the last bullish outcome, and the manner things are unfolding, it appears like we are headed in that route. With clever, reasonable leadership, the SEC may subsequently see this as the excellent route ahead. Fingers crossed this performs out just proper. It's now not approximately stifling innovation or shutting these agencies down. It's about giving them clear hints to perform legally and expectantly inside the US. It truly is how we create protection, raise investor accept as true with, and make certain those corporations thrive here as opposed to packing up and fueling other economies' remote places. Now, let's shift gears to something potentially game-changing for XRP. Rumor has it that President Trump is planning to drop crypto GOAT orders on day one, and right here's why this can be massive for XRP, scrapping the loose bypass for Ethereum and Bitcoin. Trump's plan is to stage the gambling field for all cryptocurrencies, as his team believes Bill Hinman's notorious free bypass speech triggered main marketplace confusion. If this is going through, it can absolutely reshape the crypto landscape, and XRP might be perfectly placed to advantage. XRP is eventually stepping onto a stage gambling area with other cryptocurrencies. But here's the twist. It's not simply some other crypto. XRP